Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sick Joke Podcast. You sick fucks. You sick puppies. You sick mamas and papas. You sick COVID patients. What's going on? It's Johnny Mitchell here. You guys, go subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Johnny Mitchell. Those numbers are kicking up nicely, day by day, little by little, moving the ball up the hill until we're finally at the mountaintop and we get our channel taken down again. Yeah. And then, of course, go to rockfin.com/Johnny Mitchell. That might be the future, dude. I was on a big podcast this weekend with a bunch of cholos in downtown LA. They were filmed at Be Real from Cypress Hill. He's got a podcast studio down there. And it was like the most fun I've had on somebody else's podcast in a long time. But they put their shit almost exclusively on Rockfin, and they're doing numbers. So I guess the kids all know about Rockfin, you know? Like, you talk to anybody my age or older, unless you're Sam Tripoli, you know, no clue what the fuck that is. You know, it sounds like a device on your TV. So go to rockfin.com/Johnny Mitchell. Follow me on there. I'm going to start putting up more and more political clips, conspiracy-driven clips. And yeah, those are all going to live on Rockfin as well. And then, of course, patreon.com/Sick Joke. I see that my sick fucks like a bargain because I check my Patreon numbers every day, and wouldn't you know, they have $1 to spend on me every month, Louise. I'm flattered. At $1, which is really, in this day and age, it's worth about 10 cents with inflation. Okay, $1 is about like you can wipe your ass with it, and that's about all it's good for. But go do that, Army. A few of you submitted questions, so we'll get to that at the end of the show. Of course, you get the bonus content. For $5 members and up, you get a shout out on the show. $10 and up every month, you get to talk to Daddy. You get to call your favorite Uncle John. I just talked to this Australian kid the other day. He's a Patreon member, and of course, you know how I feel about them. I went in there immediately. Just immediately assuming that this kid was going to be androgynous, pale, skinny, devoid of any semblance of a sexuality, kind of like looking at paint drying on the wall, devoid of any kind of knowledge of the outside world, racist. I went in there with all these preconceived notions, and wouldn't you know, they were all true. No, this kid was a nice kid. He was a fun kid. Good kid. We're going to have another call soon. We mutually masturbated through FaceTime. But I just gave this guy my number. I gave him my phone number, and I had him call me up on WhatsApp. And he's free to call me anytime. That's what you get with $10 a month or more. This is what you get. You get to be my friend, basically, you know? But that's just what it's got to be because, you know, we got to keep the lights on, as we say. So go do that. Yeah, the war with Russia, it's happening. I mean, they've already, as of today, January 23rd to February 23rd, they've invaded. They're in a few districts already of Ukraine. So they're going for it. And look, we are with Russia. We're a pro Vladimir Putin podcast. We are pro Putin in general, but we agree with this move because it's a defensive move. It's a defensive move because NATO has just been expanding and expanding and expanding since the 80s, okay? Now they're fucking circling Russia, and Russia is biting them to get them off of them, you know? It's like they're shooting a shot across the bow, like, get the fuck off me, you know? This is like Michael Corleone in the end of The Godfather Part 1. He's got to hit all the 5 family members at once because they're getting driven out of town, you know what I mean? They don't have the strength that they used to. Corleone family don't have that kind of power no more. So yeah, I mean, it's just there really is. Mark Maron was doing a bit yesterday at the Comedy Store. I was watching him. He goes, yeah, I really don't see how anything could get better from here. I tend to agree with him. I think Mark Maron is an elitist, overrated, cocksucker, a smug, arrogant, coastal piece of shit. But I do agree with that. And you can make this clip go viral. I don't give a shit. Not going to have me on his show. he goes, yeah, I don't see how anything gets better from here. I quite agree with you, Mark. I quite agree with you. So I just paid $5 a gallon for gasoline when I was on my way back over here to the studio. The inflation is just getting worse as we invade Russia. The bond markets are in disarray. It's just a nightmare. It's just one set of nightmares after another. And I can't help but think that this is all the plan, because if you look at who's gained over the last 2 years, the 700 richest people in the world have seen their net worth go up by a combined like $2 trillion. So there's people winning right now. I just want everybody to be clear about this. If you just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and are born into a rich family, you too can be part of the Illuminati. You know what I mean? If you're not where you want to be in life, it's your fault. It's your fault that you weren't born into a family of oil oligarchs that works for the CIA, and you've been given everything, and you've been literally fast-tracked to politics and have access to the most powerful people in the world. It's your fault, Luis. Spick Luis. So that's what's going on. So we have, listen, Russia, I don't care what you do with Ukraine, but you guys stole my catalytic converter off my Prius a couple of years ago, and I want compensation for that. Your people have been stealing our cars for a long time, okay? And all we want is our just due. I don't care what you do to Ukraine. Ukraine is good for two things: gymnastics and the whores that do gymnastics over there. Really a lot of fine women in Ukraine. That's about it though. But I want my fucking catalytic converter back. I want my Prius back. Don't you see? But maybe Russia did me a favor. That is the gayest car outside of like those tiny little smart cars that exist. So like maybe they did me a favor, maybe go level up and get a fucking Toyota Corolla. You know what I'm saying? But it's matte black on black. This shit kind of looks like a Lexus from, if you got really bad vision and you're a couple blocks away. So you bunch of dirty car thieves. I just want you to stop engaging in criminal activity unless it's the invasion of sovereign countries or poisoning of political opponents. That's fine. I want you to stop trying to steal my identity when I use my credit card at the gas station. Okay? These are Russian crimes. I want you to stop. I want you hands off the rims on my car, hands off of, medical scams, right? These affect me. Hands off stealing my unemployment money last year. I can only assume these are all Russians. These are all dirty Russian immigrants that are doing this, okay? But you fucking invade the Ukraine and burn that motherfucker to the ground for all I give a shit, okay? And that's what I say. That's what I say. It's all over the news. Like somebody's making a killing because the markets are up, and I don't know. It is a fascinating look at what could potentially become a hot war between the U.S. and Russia, which, as I've said before, we have not had. We've been pussyfooting around the issue of a hot engagement for a long time, forever, since the end of World War II, when the Cold War started. We've been two people dancing back and forth, barking, talking shit, but we never really fucking threw a punch. This could be it. We could be in a full-scale war. There's massive cyber attacks going on in Ukraine right now. That's the real war. That's the real war, is when you wake up and none of your computers work. That's what it is. You go to log in and the internet's broken. What do you do? Literally, what would we do if we had to get through the rest of today with no internet? What would businesses do? What could any of it? It would just be back to, well, I'm gonna go steal something from the store. It would be. I don't see a way. There is no coming back from the digital world that we've entangled ourselves in. It's either this, or we are like the Central African Republic, where we're out marching in the streets with machetes. There's no in between anymore. There's no going back. So the cyber attack, that's the new warfare, you know? I mean, it'd be fun for a couple of days if nobody had the internet, but I mean, it would just, you know, how's rent going to get paid? How are the cops going to get called? How's anybody going to communicate with each other? You know, Florida, the great state of Florida, the sovereign nation of Florida, is about to pass a bill that would the "Don't Say Gay" bill that would bar LGBTQ discussions in schools. Hey, Republicans, I want to root for you. I want to see your point of view, but then you come out with the "Don't Say Gay" bill. Now, it's basically they're saying, well, we don't want to teach kids about sexuality, which there's a lot of merit in that, right? But the "Don't Say Gay" bill, I mean, we were calling things gay from first grade on. You know? Oh, those shoes are gay. Mrs. Hollingsworth is gay. You're gay. Your mom's gay. That's fucking gay. So am I going to get in trouble for saying that? That's insane to me. That's insane. That goes against what the Republicans and the right believe in, which is not impinging on free speech. I should be allowed to say gay in school without consequence. Don't say gay. Fuck you. How's that? Gay wad? Fucking gay. That "Don't Say Gay" bill is fucking gay. I know that shit. I mean, look, but the reality is, I mean, let me read you. The bill would extend to support. Yeah. The state Senate and House have proposed the Parental Rights and Education Bill, which would apply to such topics in primary grade levels, as well as in cases where the discussions are deemed not age appropriate. Their purpose is to reinforce the fundamental rights of parents to make decisions regarding the upbringing and control of their children. The House Judiciary Committee approved the bill on Thursday, advancing it to the House. Yeah, I mean, sure. The Republican Joe Harding, I want them to go on record to say it's okay for a 6-year-old to have one identity in school and one at home because the school encourages that kind of behavior. Well, you do see a lot of this kind of like brainwashing. Like if you go look at the Libs of TikTok account, they in many places, these teachers, and they're Gen Z teachers, or you can't even call them millennial teachers. These are like 23-year-olds that just got out of fucking Wesleyan College, where they learned about critical race theory and intersectional feminist politics, and now they're in schools, you know, telling kids that there is no man, there is no woman, you know, you can be whatever you want. There is a lot of that kind of brainwashing going on, and they're telling their students to not go home and talk about what we discuss in class. You know what I mean? That shit is wild. That I don't agree with that at all. You know, so that's there's a reason that there's such pushback against this. But like everything we do, we try to correct something and we completely overcorrect it, you know? So, I mean, look, yes, at what age is it appropriate to learn about what homosexuality is? What do you think, Luis?
Maybe like 16.
That's pretty old, Luis. That's pretty old. Because if you're a true gold star homo, you have sucked a cock by the time you're 16. I mean, that's when you operate a motor vehicle.
You should let people decide whether they want to suck our cock or not by the time 16, then introduce it to them then.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess the fun of life, as we were saying, the fun of being a kid is finding out all of this shit on your own. You know? I remember I licked poop out of one of my neighbor's buttholes when I was in first grade. I've never told anybody this before. It was me, and it was a girl named Lindsay, and I'll keep her last name out just in case a family member is watching this, because they'll know exactly who I'm talking about. She was the neighbor girl from down the street, okay? And we were family friends. I'm telling you, this is probably 1991. This is how long ago it is. And I remember there was nothing romantic about it at all. We went to the basement of her house, this dank basement filled with all this canned food. They were kind of poor. And we started like kissing and making out and rubbing genitals. And I remember pulling her panties down and they were streaked with poop.
Oh my
Yeah, these were, I mean, this is what happens when you're 5 years old. You have shit stains in your dungarees. And I just remember licking her butthole, but I felt it was purely animalistic. It was two dogs sniffing each other's butts. It was that kind of animal.
Innocent.
So that's the fun of it. So that's, inevitably where you're from. There's two young boys from the projects, posing as hard on the outside, maybe killed a couple of motherfuckers, but they go into the janitor's closet when their parents aren't home. They go. There's always like in the government housing. There's always like like an electrical room. Mm-hmm. And they're in there sucking each other's cocks. They're in there doing man 69. They're bent over. He's got his boy. He's sucking his boy's cock, right? He's getting mouth fucked from up here while his boy is leaned over the front of him and is face down blowing him. You know what I mean? So it kind of looks like he's like holding his ankles up, blowing him, and his head is down here, right? Sucking his cock. So that's, and that's purely, it's so natural. It's so natural. It should be, it should be illegal. It's so good. It's so natural. So yeah, so this is the fun of it is finding out, and the fun of being a kid is calling your friends a faggot, and it's accusing them of being gay, right? Of something they can't control, something they have no control over. It's like making fun of somebody who's deformed or mentally retarded or fat or poor or any number of things that they have no control over and that will ruin their self-esteem for a long time. That's the fun of being a kid is to make fun of somebody like that, is to be cruel, because what that does is that creates toughness, creates an iron in kids that are subjected to that kind of bullying. It also creates, murderers and child molesters and a host of other antisocial behavior. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, and Russians that will steal the catalytic converter off your Prius. So yeah, Florida, we don't agree with a lot of what you do. I mean, I know we rant a lot against the liberal cucks and these communists and these people who want to bring us to our knees with identity politics, but the right, not so good either. Let's be crystal clear. I am the furthest thing from what politically would be a Republican that you can get. Although I'm kind of identifying more with some of the things that Republicans are for, like guns. I mean the Second Amendment. Jesus, man. Can we not fucking thank whatever genius, I guess Thomas Jefferson, can we not thank their foresight into mandating that everybody carry heat in this fucking country? Because if not, we would have queers like Justin Trudeau taking away our rights, But you ain't going to do that. Biden ain't going to do that because Texas and Arkansas and Florida and Arizona are just going to collectively cock their shotguns if he attempts any fuckery like what's going on in Canada right now. But, by and large, the Republicans have led and been responsible for a lot of the ruin and the chaos of the country. So I just want to point that out for anybody. We are an anti-power podcast. You see what I'm saying? We're an anti-politically correct podcast of whatever side of politics you're on. So anyways, but you see the calling of do you know who doesn't have bullying? Do you know what country, do you know the country where the kids don't call each other fags and don't make fun of their cystic acne and don't make fun of their fat sister or their smelly mother, or don't make fun of the fact that they get dropped off in a minivan from 1995 that's got two hubcaps missing? Do you know where they don't make fun of people that have those kind of problems? Canada. And herein lies my segue. And if we had the proper production on this show, if we had the proper infrastructure, this is not Luis's fault. This is mine for not having you get, yes. And I will say the word because we're not yet remonetized. You get like this. This is a woman from Canada. This is the video of the Canadian politician who's defending Justin Trudeau and basically him cracking down on the protesters. By the way, the peaceful protesters. You see the Canadians, how they protest?
Yeah.
They drink beer and they sit in hot tubs.
And hold hands in a circle.
Yeah, and hold hands and jump in a bouncy house, a child's bouncy house. Do you know how we protest in this country? Smash and grabs. You know how we protest in this country? Fucking gunshots, putting police cars on fire, which is more fun. I get it's more fun. But this chick, here we go right here. Is this it? Is this it? Yeah. We're going to go ahead and pop this up for the folks. This is a politician defending. Wait, can we turn that off? What the fuck's going on? What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is what's going on? Turn my mic back up. Okay. Yeah, this is the politician in Canada.
How much vitriol do we have to see of honk honk, which is an acronym for Hail Hitler, do we need to see by these protesters on social media? Mm-hmm. How much vitriol do we have to see of honk honk, which is an acronym for Hail Hitler, do we need to see by these protesters on social media?
Canada, you're not a real place. You're not a real country. Everything you do is irrelevant and cannot be taken seriously. This is the reason. This is a grown woman who's been elected to office. This is why we don't even want to invade you. And Canada has a shitload of oil. America, if you have a bunch of money and oil, we will fucking come over there and take it from you. Canada has both those things. We still don't invade. That's how bad we feel for you, because you have people like this in your society. I mean, this bitch is getting ready to break down in tears. This is a person throwing a tantrum, you know? I mean, imagine being so irrelevant. I tweeted that the other day. Imagine being so irrelevant the U.S. doesn't even want to invade you. You got to feel bad for yourself at that point. Dude, the United States, you know what the United States is like? We're like fucking Omar from The Wire, dude. We are the fucking stick-up kid who robs the drug dealers, and everybody's fucking scared of us, bro. They see the U.S. coming, and it's like Omar walking down the street with a shotgun over his shoulder, right, in East Baltimore. And it's a bunch of little corner boys yelling, "Omar coming, yo, Omar coming." You see a bunch of little black kids just scurrying away like roaches, right? Because they see Omar coming, and he's whistling. By the way, shout out to Michael K. Williams, died of a fentanyl overdose, which is just, hey, that's just life. That's as good as it's going to get for you. Even if you come from nothing like Michael K. Williams, you're homeless, but you're so fucking talented, and you finally break into the movie business, and you go on to play one of the most iconic characters in television, and you gain fame and respect from all sectors of society and the media, you will eventually die from a fentanyl overdose. And that's just what is in store for you. So that's the U.S., dude. You see us coming, baby. You fucking basically just drop the pack out of the window like they used to do. Did you ever see The Wire?
Not really.
So I love it, but you laugh at the jokes anyways. That's a fucking trained producer, dude. He's like, I don't get it, but it sounds funny. It sounds like I should be laughing right now. So Omar was such a bad stick-up motherfucker that a lot of times when he would go to rob the stash houses, and this is in Baltimore, right? He would go rob the stash houses of drug dealers. They wouldn't even put up a fight. They would just drop the fucking the pack out of the window, and he would pick it up and walk away. That's America, dude. We're coming for your pack. If you're slinging, if we smell money, bubbas, like the Ukraine, which is, by the way, conveniently sitting on land where a pipeline is being built from China right now. Bet you didn't know that. Oh, they're not talking about that. We're coming for you. And we're going to get you. But just like Omar on The Wire, he got his fucking wig split at the end. Some fucking 12-year-old fucking put one in his head. So that's what will become of us. It's inevitable. It is inevitable. So I suggest you enjoy the ride, because I'll tell you what, Bubbas, and I talked about this yesterday. I'm putting out these political clips. The vaccine passports, they're coming. I mean, everybody's starting to rescind all of their COVID lockdown measures. Iceland just lifted all restrictions. Today I saw a tweet. Britain is lifting all restrictions. Even in the U.S., most of the restrictions are lifted, are going to be lifted soon. But they refuse to back down when it comes to these vaccine passports. Now, why? Why does that make any kind of sense? It's because they want, and go watch my clips. I don't want to give away. I don't want to repeat what I've talked about for a half an hour yesterday. It's because they want to control everything you do. They want to turn you into China so they can track everything you do through your cell phone, control all your money through a centralized digital currency, and impose a social credit system. And I'll tell you what, if we were living under a social credit system today, you and I would have a failing score, because I'm quite certain we are not acting in a manner appropriate to the new society, the Great Reset, the new man. I'm quite certain that we're speaking crimes crimes that go against the state. And you're not saying anything, but you were just as being on my podcast, just being associated with me. They just cut your money off. Literally, you go, this is what they do in China. You go in, and if you want to buy something, you want to go buy a cup of coffee, you got to scan your little fucking thing on your phone, making sure your credit system is good. So if you haven't paid a parking ticket, yeah, motherfucker, I almost said, yeah, that right there. Put another ding on my fucking social credit score. If I want to go buy something, a cup of coffee, nope, your credit score fell below a 4. Because you were on Johnny Mitchell's podcast. You're an undesirable. They could just cut your money off.
There's a Black Mirror episode on that.
Yes, that's what the guy was talking about. The clip that went viral on Rogan. It was this journalist, some fucking way too complicated Indian name. My guy, change your name, anglify your name a little bit. Please. You speak English now. Look at what the Chinese do. They come here and they name their kids Jim, even though they're fucking called Wing Ji. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of trying to be, yeah. So anywho, but that's what he was saying. It was a Black Mirror episode. That's China. That's not even fiction. That's what's going on in China. You see pictures of like a bunch of little Chinese girls like flashing their credit system at the camera like it's their TikTok accounts. Right. You know what I mean? Wow. Yeah. So I don't know. And so basically here, let me pull this up really quick. This is an article about, it's right here. So the cocksucker, the elderly are, I love that in Ukraine, by the way. Fucking old people are learning how to shoot. And they were like, dude, you couldn't have done this when we were 30. We thought the Russians were going to invade back in the 70s. Now I got fucking arthritis. I got cataracts. You're in trouble when you're depending on snipers that are 78 years old that are like Joe Biden. That's got to be a shaky hand.
Is that a Russian?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think so. Ukraine, good luck with that one. Okay? If they can get my catalytic converter, they can take over your stupid country. So this is I'll just read it off Twitter. I love how the British say Twitter. It's on Twitter. Twitter. Yeah, so the WHO, the World Health Organization. So everybody, so this is it right here. This is from disclose.tv. If you're big into conspiracies, I recommend you go follow them on Twitter. It's not even a conspiracies. They're news. They're of course they have a slant, but they're picking up all the news underneath the headlines of the mainstream media. Okay. So WHO, the World Health Organization, it's a conglomerate of like basically every country on earth that matters, 197 countries, right? WHO selects Deutsche Telekom, again, German. Why are you letting a German control the fate of humanity? I don't know how many times I have to say this. The only thing worse than a German with absolute power is an Italian with absolute power. These are corruptible people. These are racist people. They're inherently evil. These are inherently evil people. What I'm saying right now, if I said this about any other race, I mean, the SWAT team would kick in my door. I'm literally telling you that every person of Italian or German descent is an animal. I'm saying that through a microphone. It's going to be on YouTube. Do you see what I'm saying? This is, so anyways, Deutsche Bank. Yeah, that's who you want to trust. Deutsche Telekom, rather, but it's a subsidiary of Deutsche Bank, to standardize the issuing of QR codes, okay, and to create a global vaccine passport. So we're going to pick this up, pop it up on the screen for the viewer. The World Health Organization, wants to facilitate its 194 member states to introduce digital vaccination certificates. To do so, it's setting up a gateway to standardize the issuing of QR codes that confer privileged health status to their owner. Okay. Corona has a grip on the world, says the CEO of T-Systems. Hey, no, it doesn't. No, it does not. Just because you say something doesn't make it so. Gay wad. Nobody called you gay, you fucking gay butt pirate. Gay boy. It doesn't have a grip on the world. That's why the whole world is lifting the mandates. Doesn't make any sense. They're pushing it and pushing it and pushing it because they want to fucking, and it's not even for money. It's not this. What they're doing is not economically efficient. And maybe it is for a handful of oligarchs that have gotten richer, right? But there's more money in it for everybody if you allow the flow of people and goods and services to basically operate with freedom. Right. It's a fact. It's not for money. They want power, and they want absolute power. That's the most fucking evil kind of intention, dude. So just because you say it's got a grip on the world, no, bitch, it fucking doesn't, okay? Digitization keeps the world running. So basically, look, if you want to fucking travel to any one of these countries, right, in the 194 member WHO region, they want you to have one single digitized QR code that says that you're vaccinated. So what that does is that's the infrastructure. They're going to be able to program that to whichever government that you live under, right? Mm-hmm. And that's going to be the beginning of the end. That's going to be where they're going to get access to your bank account. They're like, and it could take, you're not going to wake up overnight, even after you get the vaccine passports and be like Black Mirror and be like China. Right. It could take a decade, but the infrastructure is there. So you wake up one day and you're like, well, all the bank accounts are now, it will move away from money. Mm-hmm. Right? We'll move away from money. It's only digital money now. Well, that's got to be regulated by the government. Lucky for you, the government has all your information through this QR code. And they just keep developing it until you wake up. You can't drive a car. You got to share a fucking car with your neighbors, right? Oh my God. Yeah, and you can only drive it on certain set times, certain days of the week. Well, what if I can't get to work? Well, that's okay. We'll just give you digital currency. There's no more, we don't have to worry about inflation because everything that we make is digital now. Right. So you can go buy, but with this money, you can only go purchase what we deem to be necessary and prudent. These are not my words. This sounds like the rantings of a crazy man, and I get it. I am dressed like a Vietnam vet. I am dressed like a guy that's got his legs blown off in Nam, and he's in a wheelchair, sitting outside of like a Ralph's screaming at the sky. I get that. But if you go watch my videos that I've been putting up, that is the actual verbiage from the guys, the head of the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum that are concocting this fucking evil scheme, So I don't know. So I think the idea is you just don't travel to, you refuse to get it, and you don't travel to any one of the 194 countries that have to have this QR code. So where does that leave you to go? What countries are not part of the World Health Organization? Let's look that up and see if those are desirable places to visit. Okay?
Fucking put in a guess.
Which countries? Yeah, what do you think, Luis? You think El Salvador? You're Salvadoran.
I was about to say maybe El Salvador, fucking Uruguay.
Uruguay. Sí, claro, Uruguay. Shut up, bitch. Trying to make me look dumb. Fucking gay boy. Shut the hell up. Which countries are not part of the...
Fuck.
No, I guarantee you Uruguay is part of the fucking...
Really?
Yeah. Which countries are not part of the World Health Organization? The World Health Organization... under scrutiny. This is the first article that comes up from Reuters. That's interesting. Yeah, the World Health, the WHO, and this is not some deep, dark fucking part of the internet. This is Reuters. This is a mainstream online journal. The WHO is in the spotlight as it champions the global fight against the new coronavirus, but faces a funding freeze from U.S. President Donald Trump's government. Oh, this is back in 2020. Yeah. Trump saw it coming. DT saw it on the wall. He's like, these fucking scumbags are as dirty as my fucking 5-year-old niece's panties that Johnny licked the poop off of.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. So who is not in the yeah, these cocksuckers, these fucking dirty, evil. Yeah. This week, Trump said the WHO had failed in its basic duty and announced a temporary halt to U.S. funding. I mean, I hate to say it, but a lot of what this cat did was correct. Like a lot of, in hindsight, God, don't we feel dumb, dude? Because nobody hated on Trump. I mean, I didn't hate on him like a bitch would, but I was like, I was definitely not for a lot of what he was doing. Liechtenstein. That's not a member of the Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein. That's a small country. I wouldn't expect a feeble pea-brained person like you, Luis, to know what Liechtenstein is. That's a very tiny country that's sandwiched between Switzerland and Germany, and I think it was created literally as a haven to launder money. Like literally, it was created after World War II, and it is a tiny, like probably the size of LA County. No joke. And there's a reason, and they're very first world. They're very, very advanced. So there's a good reason that they're not in the WHO. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, Taiwan's not in it.
I knew it.
Taiwan, did you know that?
Yeah, I was going to say Taiwan.
Taiwan is not in it. Here we go. Vatican City is not in it. Now, why would a place like the Vatican City not be in it?
Damn, I wish I knew what that
The Vatican
was.
probably, the big conspiracy is that the Vatican controls almost everything in politics. Yeah, here we go right here. But any of these places, I guess the Vatican City would be kind of cool. I just like traveling. I want to get back to traveling. You know what I'm saying? I want to get back to just being free. I would like to, especially if we get some money down the line, I want to go see the world again. I've just been grinding it out, doing stand-up in Los Angeles for so many years, and just traveling around the country, fucking doing comedy in, every nook and cranny and shithole and good clubs too, right? But just like, I want to get away. I want to get out of the U.S., but I feel like I refuse to go along with having my information given over to the fucking World Health Organization. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'm just not doing it. So like, where am I going to be able to travel to? Fucking the Sudan? Okay, let's just talk about countries we know are not part of the World Health Organization. Places that don't have any health. Sudan. Sudan, definitely not part of it, okay? Fucking Honduras. Definitely, there's no health there. We go to Honduras. That would be nice. Okay. We go to Honduras. We could go to I'm sure there's a handful of islands in the Caribbean that don't have they're not part of the World Health Organization. Russia. We could probably go to Russia. Russia, you want to talk about going into the eye of the storm. I'm going to go to Russia and I'm going to go to the Kremlin. I'm going to visit the Kremlin. I'm going to knock on the door and be like, I want to speak to Mr. Putin. I would like a reimbursement for my 2008 Toyota Prius, who your countrymen stole a catalytic converter off of in broad daylight in Los Angeles. You fucking car thieves. You know, we should nuke you just on GP. Okay. Yeah. I mean, who else? Just Bangladesh. I don't think Bangladesh is part of the World Health Organization. That's a tiny little country that's always getting flooded. It makes India look like Beverly Hills. It's a shithole, third world, wretched, poverty-stricken country with a lot of skinny people. We go to Bangladesh. Syria definitely is not part of the World Health Organization. We could go to Syria. We could start buying up properties and renovating them and Airbnb them to ISIS members. That's what we could do. Hey, ISIS, they got to sleep too. They need lodging. They need bed and breakfast. You know, who are we? Who are we to deny service to people whose money is green and whose fucking religion is just death? You know what I'm saying?
ISIS lodging.
Yeah, ISIS lodging. Who else is not part of the World Health Organization? Libya, where they killed Muammar Gaddafi. You know, I don't even know if these places have airports, though.
All the war-torn countries.
For sure. I don't think Yemen, I don't think there's any kind of COVID green passes that are going on in Yemen. I don't feel like there's any air travel there. I think it's very difficult to get to these places. Mm-hmm. We probably have to get on a ship. How is your stomach? Do you get seasick?
Oh, no, I'm strong. I got a strong stomach.
You do?
I could eat whatever, yeah.
Okay, well, but have you... You fucking stupid spick. Yeah, I get you can eat whatever. I've seen you with your shirt off, Tubby. I'm sure you can eat whatever. Can you get on a ship on the high seas without getting seasick?
I don't think I'm sensitive. So yeah.
Have you been on a ship before?
Like a life raft.
Coming to this country?
Or like a kayak. I went on a kayak before.
You went on a kayak?
Yeah, a while ago. Or like a fucking...
Who do you know in your family that's white?
Oh, dude, my uncle.
Oh, that is a kind of a white activity. Interesting.
Yeah. He was like a cop back in the day.
Right?
And he married my fucking crazy aunt.
Yeah. Who would have thought that a cop would be the most stable person in a relationship? You know what I mean?
Right.
Cops are always just every time you open the New York Post, it's cop beats and kills his wife. Drunken cop stumbles into his ex-wife's apartment, stabs her and her lover to death. I mean, cops are they're the most fucked up people next to therapists and female comedians. They're just the most fucked up group of people on the planet.
I'll be specific.
I don't think you've been on a ship though for a prolonged period of time on the high seas.
No. Queen Mary, I looked at it but never went on it.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's just something you kind of got to go through. There's Dramamine and stuff you can take. I was on a ship in Argentina one time and I felt myself getting very seasick, but it does pass. Mm-hmm. Somalia. Now, how do you feel about like piracy on the high seas? How do you feel about, working with the Somali pirates, taking, Dutch and British cargo ships hostage? Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, I have a strong voice when I get into it, so I think it'd be pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. You're dedicated for sure. You certainly have more strength than anybody over there. I mean, Somalis make me look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in that movie Pumpin' Iron. I mean, you guys need protein shakes. I mean, what the fuck's going on?
Invest in whey protein.
Yeah. I mean,
like Coke.
Your alive bodies look like dead bodies that archaeologists dig up. You know what I'm saying? Your bones with skin over them.
Yeah, they're fucking artifacts out there.
Yeah, so you got to think a lot of countries in East Africa, Central America, some of the islands, certainly the places in the Middle East, war-torn countries. I mean, these are places that are not going to be part of the World Health Organization for a while. So I think we're good. I think those become the new you know what that becomes? That becomes the Rockfin of tourism. So anybody that's not allowed on YouTube, right? Anybody who doesn't want to go mainstream and get the jab and be subjected to the new world order, right? You could just go, hey, no big deal. You take your spring break in Syria, okay? Take your spring break in Syria, right? And yes, that is the Muslim prayer horn waking you up at 5 a.m. when you just want to sleep in from a hangover. And yes, that is the screams of a woman in the town square being stoned to death. Why couldn't that be my ex? You know? Why couldn't that be my ex? You ungrateful whore. You don't know how good you have it in this country. I will never strike you because there's laws, you know? There's law. So what I'm saying is we switch it up. We switch things up. We get the come on. You need change, people. You need to upgrade your DNA. You need to send a shock to your system. I mean, this is important. This is important. It's important that you see the other side to domestic abuse. All you hear about is what's wrong with it, you know? Mm-hmm. Afghanistan, I promise you they're not part of the World Health Organization. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen this documentary called The Dancing Boys.
No, what?
That is about child sex trafficking in Afghanistan. A little disclosure, it's rampant, okay? Young boys that look like you're too old. What these warlords do, who, by the way, were all allies of the U.S. during the war, I want to add. These guys are all buddies with America. These warlords find little boys like you, like 12-year-old Luis, basically an orphan, directionless, begging on the streets, comes from complete poverty. They would go to your mom or your dad and say, look, we'll give you $50 for him. And then you just basically belong to this predator who then would make you wear makeup because they have their women are totally suppressed over there. So they would make the boys dress up in makeup, put little bells on them, and teach them how to dance and shit. I swear to God, go look up this documentary called The Dancing Boys. We'll play it. We'll play the video right now. We'll play a little clip in the, and then what they'll do is they actually go sell them or rent them out to other Afghani warlords. But again, though, no green passes, no kind of fascistic, totalitarian, autocratic Big Brother surveillance over there.
Same shit happens over here, though. The Epstein shit, that's like on the same scale, just way different.
Yeah, but it's fucking chicks. It's not as gay as the fucking Afghani sex trafficking.
A couple boys. You telling me one of those motherfuckers didn't have a little boy with them at one?
Oh
point?
yeah, no, 100%. Now, why has that not come up? Is there? Okay, yeah, Epstein sex scandal boys. I'll just enter that. Epstein sex scandal boys. Two question marks. Here we go. Yeah, I guess you're right. Here we go.
There you go.
There we go. But yeah, dude, ours is way less gay. Like if you have to look at the Afghani sex trafficking or this Epstein sex trafficking, I got to choose the one that's just not as fucking gay. And that just gets me back to the Florida law. Don't say gay. No. Afghanis should grow up learning that what they do is very gay, and they should be shamed for it. They should be shamed for it, right?
100%.
If you're going to have sex trafficking, you're going to have child sex trafficking, make it fucking straight. Make some chicks here. That's what Bill Clinton says when he walks into a party on the Epstein Island. He goes, oh, Lydia, I was in Afghanistan. It's a sausage fest over there. Sausage fest. Yeah, you guys got chicks here. At least you guys got chicks here, you know? Here we go. Epstein accused of sexual abuse by male teen intern in lawsuit. Well, you got to figure that. You got to figure this guy's such a freak that there's going to be a boy that gets caught up in that dragnet, you know?
I know it for sure.
A New York man, this is from 2021, a New York man alleged in a lawsuit that Jeffrey Epstein forced him into sex when he worked for the disgraced financier as a teenage intern in high school. The alleged victim, identified in court documents only as MH, said he began working for Epstein between the summer of 2013 and into the spring of 2014. The intern was under 17 when Epstein induced him into sexual contact. Well,
he wasn't on the documentary.
Yeah, he didn't make the doc. You know why? 'Cause it's fucking gay. They're like, dude, the producer's like, we got to bury this shit. This is gay. This dude came forward and actually complained. You're supposed to, when you get molested as a man, you're supposed to take that to the grave. You're supposed to bury that deep, 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 you know? What happened to that? What happened to that? Everybody's coming out now as a victim of abuse. Not if you're an old school man, dude. You just you get your butt blown out and keep it pushing. The intern was under 17 when Epstein induced him into sexual contact. It's the first documented allegation by an underage male against Epstein. MH still suffers from the alleged abuse, according to the 4-page complaint. But what is the complaint, actually? Let's see. There's really just suing for $67 million.
Damn.
So, yeah, there's no details on it or anything. You know what? I believe all men. But not in this case. I say you were dressed. I say it was how you were dressed, MH. Okay, you walked by Epstein in those tight little houseboy pants, and you said, "Oops, I dropped a quarter, Mr. Epstein," and you just fucking gave him that little tush. You fucking gave him that little tush and fucking dared him to take it. I think this was all just a setup to see if Epstein was gay. It was a little, him and his high school buddies, they were like, dude, you know you have Predator you work with? I bet you can't get him to fuck you. He's like, oh, I bet you I can. And then how funny would that be if Epstein's just done fucking him and he's like, I knew it. I knew you were fucking gay.
All his boys come out like, ah.
Yeah. He comes, the real man in him comes out, and Epstein's like, please don't tell anybody. You can tell everybody that I work for the CIA, blackmailing politicians and trafficking young girls. Don't tell anybody I'm gay, though, please. So that's just kind of what's going on. It's a slow news week. We will have, it's basically it's Russia invading Ukraine. I mean, by next week, it could be all out war, but it's, Putin and Biden were supposed to have a summit. That's not happening. It's just the bullets are flying right now. Right. So yeah, that's just what it is. I mean, I will not let go of that Prius. I loved that Prius. And I want the Russians to pay. And if that's in the form of a nuclear bomb killing millions and millions of innocent people that had nothing to do with the catalytic converter on my Prius, so be it. You guys, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Find me on Instagram when you're in town. I'm going to be off the road for a while. I'm not going to be back in Austin or New York for a while. We're just going to be in town, internet only. We're at the Laugh Factory every week. We're at the Ha Ha Comedy Club. We're going to be back up at the store soon. So if you're in town and you're a member of the Army, look me up, find me, come out to a show. I would be happy to have you. I'm always tickled to have fans in town. Really quick, I got to read the question from one of our patrons.
Hell yeah.
Excuse me.
What's his name?
This is from Lucas Kunha. What kind of name is that? Cunha.
That's Hawaiian, huh?
Is it?
Kunha?
Kunha.
Kaloa. I know some girl named Kaloa, and she's Hawaiian.
Oh, okay. Well, this is a boy named Kunha. So how you made that connection, God only knows. Could be Kunha. Lucas Kunha. Okay. So, hey, Johnny, he asks, do you have any advice for writing jokes? Love the pod. Keep up the good shit, bro. Do I have any advice for writing jokes? So this is a comedian, or this is a comedian hopeful, or maybe somebody who just started stand-up. Well, it's a long process. I will say that if you're brand new to stand-up, the way you do it is just go watch whoever your favorite stand-ups are. I mean, I can't tell you the science behind writing a joke. I mean, there's setup, punch, right? There are technical skills to it. A misdirection,
Entendres.
The misdirection is you think you're going one way, right? In your setup, and then your punch goes the opposite, right? And that's what that is like the surprise of a bit. But that's going to be your first couple of years in stand up. You're just going to be figuring it out. I just went and watched my favorite comics. And when I first started, that was Louis C.K. That was Bill Burr. That was Colin Quinn, Dave Attell, Dave Chappelle, right? Chris Rock. And I just soaked up how with their voices and their personalities, they were able to make their premise, the premise of what you're talking about, into funny. So you have your premise, your joke premise, and all you got to do is figure out the punchline that makes it funny. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and you're just going to, and it's just repetition and repetition and repetition. And then as you go along, you're going to figure out what makes you funny, and you're going to be able to shed. So really for the first fucking 5 years of my stand-up career, I was basically doing other people's acts. Like I wasn't doing their jokes, but I was trying to take on their style, their persona, their voice. That's what most comics do because they don't know any better and they're so new. They're just imitating what works because they want to get laughs, but they're using their jokes, right? So, and when you do it long enough, like now I'm starting to be able to just, I've pushed their voices out of my head when I write jokes for the most part. And that's why I don't watch a lot of stand-up anymore either, because I don't want anybody else's voice and cadence in my head when I'm writing. But I basically am myself when I'm going through and when I'm writing and when I'm translating that to the stage. So yeah, that's the joke writing is, what do you care about? What's on your mind all the time, right? That's what you should be writing about. The shit that's bothering you is the best, because when you take something that bothers you, that anger turns into funny. Funny is rarely nice. Yeah. Funny is almost never nice. There's nothing nice. There's nothing funny about nice things. Hey, Luis, when you were on that kayak and you were in the mountains or you were up in the forest and it was ideal, it was idyllic, it was beautiful. There's rushing streams and the air smelled good, and maybe there was a mountain off in the distance, and your uncle wasn't drunk for once, and your mom had her titties out, right? Okay. Beauty.
Yeah.
Now, what's funny about that? Besides your mom's tits. Yeah.
The fact that it was actually like Huntington Beach and like a fucking damn near sewer, you know.
There you go. That's what's funny is he was in a storm drain in Huntington Beach. This fucking dirty Hispanic family tries to go out and do like an outdoorsy thing, and it fails miserably. It's failure that's funny.
I literally almost died too because it was so ugly because it was an artificial beach that me and my cousin were like, well, let's go to the actual beach, right? You're not really supposed to take a kayak to the actual beach.
No.
Because it's so fucking strong.
How the fuck would you expect to get past the waves?
Well, that's the thing. I didn't.
You guys didn't think that far? No.
Why would you? It started sinking immediately, and we almost lost a paddleboard, and I lost one of the paddles. And then that was it. We packed
right,
it
and then you didn't get your deposit back when you went back to the fucking kayak place. So there you have it, Lucas. That is the funny is in the failure. So and there's nothing funny about guys that are winning all the time. So, someone who's winning all the time, there's nothing funny about it. That's why everybody that gets into stand-up is really good at it. In general, is just kind of a person who's a little off. Even people that win, even the biggest stand-ups in the world, they seem like stars now. They seem like they got the world by the balls. Dave Chappelle is the most angst-filled, self-conscious person that probably is doing stand-up right now. That's the truth. He wants everybody to love him because there's just something in him that's a little broken. And that's what compels him to go on stage. It's failure, you know? So that would be my advice, man. And if you can, you got to be around good comics when you're coming up too, to know what good stand-up is. Like I had, as much as I bitch about LA, I had the privilege of watching and being at the Comedy Store from day one and looking at Joe Rogan and looking at Joey Diaz and looking at Bill Burr and just one beast after another and being like, okay, this is how you do it. Like just being able to soak all that in and then being around your peers who are good and, hold you to a high standard. That's important too. So I would go to New York or LA or Austin now too. If you want to be surrounded by like really good comics, although, Chicago's got a scene. I don't know about Hawaii. I do know a couple of comics in Hawaii or that live here now, but it's the internet's changed the game. You can go see what's good on the internet and then just go emulate it and then build your voice and eventually you'll become your own man, and and then you too will have a podcast in your apartment, and there you have it. So, all right, you guys, we got a jet. We will be filming a Patreon episode after this. You didn't know that, did you? You thought you were going to get to go home. We got to film a Patreon now. Patreon.com/sickjoke. Follow me. Tell your friends about it. And we will see you next week. We're going to have, next week we'll have Josh Potter is coming on the show next week. We're very excited. He's going to tell us stories about being on the road with Bert Kreischer. Once we get the capabilities, we're going to have guys like Sam Tripoli in here too. But we just want to, we want to have the infrastructure going. I don't want to bring Sam in here for, anything less than our best when it comes to how it's going to be able to help us. You know what I mean? So we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. I love you. Peace.
Wait.